All right, we are live. Angela Martinez. Do you prefer to go by Angela?
Yes.
All right. Once again, I we talked a little bit off, but thank you for accepting the invite. And of course, I did send you at least one link to a previous. Oh, wait a minute. I see a dog. We have to talk
Yeah.
about the dog. Oh,
This is
precious.
this is Tito.
Tito, is it a boy?
He's a boy, yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah, he's
is that
he's
what's
very
the
much a
breed?
lap dog.
What's the breed?
He's a Chiweenie,
A blend then.
a blend. Yeah, he's a Chihuahua and Dachshund.
Dachshund? Is that what they or whatever
Yeah, Dachshund.
Dachshund?
Yeah, yes,
Yes. Oh my
yes.
gosh. Tito, this is cool. I get to have two guests on this podcast.
Yeah.
He might steal the show from us.
He often does. Anytime we take him out, he's definitely the center of attention.
Oh, he is sweet. How old is he?
He's going to be 3 in May.
Oh, nice, nice. So
Yeah.
lots more time with him. Yes, I'm obviously
Yes.
a dog person. I just even my roommate has cats, so I just like animals. But I grew up with dogs, and yes, I'm the guy that I'm respectful whenever I go out in public. I will always ask, but if I see people with dogs, I'm gonna want to pet them.
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, exactly. There's
That
therapy too. I feel like dogs just make people happy.
yes, and I've said this before. Look, I'm very open and accepting of everybody, different beliefs, whatever. But I will say, if when I come across people that just say they don't like dogs, I kind of don't trust them because I'm like, there's now to defend that maybe they might have issues they need to work through, but I'm like, you should. I mean, unless you have a dog allergy,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
But how can you not like dogs? I mean, unless you had a bad experience with a mean dog that attacked you when you were a kid or something.
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, dogs are amazing. Because they're always happy to see you. There's no conditions, there's no judgment. You walk through the door and they are just happy to see you.
Yeah. Yes, they are. No man will ever look at me with as much love and admiration as this little guy.
I love that you went there right away. That's friggin' hilarious. That is so hilarious. I will qualify that. There I bet there is a man on the planet that would, but I understand they're few and far between. Okay.
Yeah.
That was funny. Oh my gosh. So I mean, again, I have kind of oh, I'm sorry. We started going off. I was going to say, I did send you a link. I don't know how much you were able to listen to, but I don't normally come in with an agenda or bullet points. I just like the conversation to flow naturally because
Okay.
usually within the first, well, and this is true of people I kind of knew or had met before, and then within 10 minutes, I'll find out something I had no idea about, and it's interesting. We talk about it. So I don't like to script it. But since I don't even know you, I did write down some topics I do want to touch base on. Kind of the first one in a fun way is the prom date mixtape guys. And
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad because I messaged you and told you, I'm an OG groupie. But now I'm thinking, well, I they're not. It's not the same band. They're not the Retros. Did
Right.
you ever see the Retros back in the day?
No, no, I didn't. No.
Oh, okay. So the I'm pretty because the prom date mixtape we do a summer concert series down here in Vancouver. It's outdoors, and for the last 2 summers they have come down and played, and I've seen them. And the bass player, and I'm blanking on his name, but he was in the Retros back in the early mid 2000s when I was going to see them all the time.
Okay.
But I think everybody else in the band is different. So I felt bad, like, you know what? This is not this is not the Retros. It's a new band that guy just joined. But they
Yeah.
played the same type of music, that 80s stuff.
Yeah.
That was what the Retros did. And they were based out of the Seattle area.
Okay.
I went up and saw them the first time, I think, at a place called the Swiss in Tacoma.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yes, and then I saw them in Yakima. They would come down to Portland and do shows. So I was a big groupie, and they had a male and female singer named Kevin and Lori, and they were hot. They were touring. They were great. We actually got to be friends. Like we would go back to their hotels when they would come to Portland, and they would get a hotel obviously, and we would go hang out in their rooms after the show. So we actually got to know them. I wasn't literally a groupie. I would like to think I'm friends. I think they
Yeah.
liked me. But they were amazing. They recreated the songs really well.
Yeah.
The male and female singer actually did really good. But um, the video I saw was just them doing an acoustic set, and I think it was just two of them.
Yeah, Patrick and Daniel, they do their stripped set where it's just those two. And so my ex and I owned a microbrewery in Fremont for 5 years from 2018 to 2025, or 2024, excuse me. And they would come and perform at the brewery, which was awesome. They have a huge following, whether they're the whole, band together, prom date mixtape, or whether it's just Patrick and Daniel doing their stripped. Um, I've met many of their following and become friends with some of them, and it's an amazing vibe, an amazing group of people. Everybody is just very genuine. These are some amazing women that I've met. Um, for the first time ever, I've met women that are not competitive or confrontational or jealous. I mean, they are just nothing but love. They're just great people to hang around.
You mean there are women in this world that are competitive and jealous and
Yeah.
insecure? No, I don't know what you're referring to.
Right, right.
But just down to earth and real. I know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been so refreshing to go down and just and I do work from Tacoma to Seattle currently, and so it is really nice to be able to just hang out in Seattle with just a good vibe and good group of ladies. It's been nice.
So the two guys again that were doing the acoustics, like Patrick and
And Daniel,
so they're full-time members with Prom Date and Mixtape.
yes,
But
full time member.
but when the full band came down to do the summer concert, they did have a female lead singer, and again, the bass player guy that I'm talking about is the one that was with the Retros. Do you
Okay.
have you ever seen the full band?
I have. My ex was kind of big into this group, and so I kind of was associated with them through him. So
Okay.
I haven't had the chance to meet everybody.
Okay.
Esther is the singer,
Okay, she was the
female singer.
female. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Got
yes.
it.
And so everybody has their own, jobs and careers outside of that. And that's just like from what I understand, and that's just a really fun, cool way for them to meet people, make money also, and just do what they love.
Well, they're musicians. I mean,
Yeah,
and even if, look, if they obviously have careers, but I mean, I'm a musician. I play guitar and I sing and stuff, and I'm like, it's not, you're not trying to be famous, but you have
right.
that itch you have to scratch. You want to go
Yeah,
out and play music. So I get
yeah,
that.
yeah, yes.
And I this is maybe where I'll say, where's my, usually I can find a runtime on here. Hold on. I mean, it's still recording. I guess it doesn't matter. This is where I usually preface it and say, because you mentioned, you and your ex, talk about whatever you're comfortable talking about. I definitely am not trying to get into anything salacious or dirt. So if I
Mhm.
ask a question that is on an area you don't want to talk about, that's fine.
You'll just have to
Um,
wait for the book.
oh
That's
my
what I
gosh,
tell
and I will
everybody. You
promote it. I know a lot of authors. I will try to
yeah.
hook you up with a publisher and an editor. So that right there is a good tease. You have a story to tell, which is kind of what I figured. You
Yeah.
share what you want, but you don't have to share everything.
Mhm.
And again, I mentioned that you owned a friggin' brewery up there. And when you say Fremont, is that an area of Seattle?
It's an area of Seattle, just north of the city, past South Lake Union. It was where you've heard of the Troll, right? The Troll in
Oh my
Fremont.
God, that's so funny. No, I only just heard about it. That same friend Stacy, who lives up north, well north of Everett up there, but she was going on a weekend trip with her fiance to find a troll. I had not heard about it until I talked to her like 2 months ago. So no, I
Okay. Yeah. Now you got to go see it. It's like one of the landmarks of Seattle. So it's under a bridge, literally, in Fremont, and you can go right up to it, take pictures, sit around it. I mean, it's just a cool artsy kind of Fremont thing.
so I'm assuming that's where Fremont Brewing is.
Yes,
Because
Fremont Brewing is
I've
not
been
far
to the
from there.
Fremont Brewing, like their big tap room up there. That's the
Okay.
Fremont area.
Uh-huh.
And then the brewery you guys owned was in that area also.
It was in that area. Yeah, we were off of 36, North
Okay,
36,
what was the name of it?
Outlander Brewery.
Oh, I have heard of it because every time I go to Seattle, um, shocker. Well, not shocker. It's not a secret. I'm a huge Kenny Chesney fan. So every time Kenny plays this Seahawks Stadium, I go to Seattle and spend time there. I've
Mhm.
Googled breweries in the area. I
Okay.
recognize the name. I don't know. I was up there in the area. I might have stopped into Outlander. I do recognize the name. Is it still in existence or when you sold it, did it go under?
We sold it. Now we were starting after COVID. COVID hit food and beverage so hard. I mean, it hit
Oh,
every
I'm
business,
aware.
but particularly food and beverage got just hit really bad. And so that ultimately was our downfall with the business.
Yeah.
I had a shitty business partner who was not trying to make profit. He was trying to have a good time. And
Yeah.
so that coupled with, COVID, but COVID was the main culprit. And so we
Yeah.
were lucky enough to find another couple. Funny thing is, they were a married couple as well. And so they took it over. They only had it about a year and then they just closed. They weren't even
Yeah.
able to sell. I mean, it at that point. I mean, when we got out, it was pretty much done. And so they were able to drag it out another year, but they just, it,
Do you mind getting in the weeds a little bit about it? Because I'm interested in the brewery thing because I
yeah,
think I mentioned I worked for a very small microbrewery here in downtown Vancouver. He opened in 2016 and sold it in September of 2020. The pandemic would have killed him even if he had, but he found a buyer, thank God, and he wanted to get out of it.
yeah,
But I had 4 amazing years working with him. Um, so you say microbrewery, it was brewery, tap room, everything same location, right?
yeah. It was in an old Victorian house.
Oh,
And so it was built in, I think it was 1894, if I'm correct, if I can remember. So it was really, really old house. And it had been previous businesses for years before we got our hands on it, and soup kitchens, I mean, you name it. And we bought it from two guys, Dragon and Nigel, who were beer
okay.
guys. They did all of this setup. So they put in the tanks, they put in, the barrels, everything. They completely turned the basement into a brewery, and they started with home brewing. They brought it into Outlander, and so we didn't have to do anything when they were ready to sell in 2018. Everything was already set up for
Oh,
for
so it was like a turnkey business.
yeah, yeah.
And
There,
was it a two-story Victorian home?
yes.
Was there a basement? Is that where the brewery
There was
was?
the basement, yeah. So the brewery was in the basement,
Yep.
and then you had the tap room on the main floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then upstairs there was a couple of rooms and a restroom up there, a little foyer area where we had foosball, and so that space up there we would just use for overflow or for private events. So I did the booking for live music
Oh.
and private parties. So that
Yeah,
was
because you said these two guys would come do their unplugged acoustic stripped down sets there.
Yes, yeah, yeah, which was really fun. And they would always bring, their people, their following. So they bring customers everywhere they
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's awesome. And I think in the message you said, hey, yeah, they just like to do their stripped down sets, and they give us beer and food. So you
yeah.
had your own kitchen, or do you have a food truck, or just your own kitchen?
Yes and yes. My ex owned a food truck, which was right down the street from the brewery.
Okay.
He had opened that in 2008 with his business partner.
Okay.
And so we would, because we had both businesses, we would allow people to bring in food from the truck to come into the brewery. But we did have kind of a small kitchen setup. There was a mini fridge, a panini press, microwave. So food was very basic.
Yeah.
But we could do, sandwiches on the panini press and pretzels, beer dip, that kind
Yep.
of,
Yep.
salads, that kind of a thing. So
Yes.
it wasn't your typical bar food where we couldn't fry anything. There was no,
No, it
you
was
know,
literally a tap room. You
yeah,
offered some food.
yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't have a full kitchen, clearly.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is the best way to do it. I mean, the people are there should be there for the beer.
For the beer, not for the food.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many so how big was it, like a five, 7 barrel system?
3.5 barrel system.
That is too weird. It's exactly what Gary had. It was called Trusty Brewing in Vancouver, and it was, again, it wasn't a house. It was in a business area downtown, but the brewery was in the basement, tap room upstairs, and it was a 3.5 barrel system.
Yeah.
He had four fermentation tanks, four bright tanks, and then a mash tun and the boil pot. It was a very simple. Oh my God, that is so weird. You guys had the same setup.
Very simple setup. I mean, there was no equipment to like do the grain out. Grain out was, by hand. You get it, buckets and
Oh
take it
yeah.
out to the compost. And yeah, so there was, our brewers, I mean, they literally did put like a lot of their, blood, sweat, and tears into that.
So was that you guys bought the business and then just kept those two guys as the brewers?
We had one brewer and we had guys to, beer tend upstairs and serve
Yeah.
food. So, but yes, they did stay on, most of them initially. Yeah. And
And
then, COVID hit, and then, we
yeah,
dwindled down in employees. We lost our brewer. We had to hire, that was kind of a,
that sucked. Yeah,
yeah,
that hurt and killed a lot of businesses, like you
yeah,
said, when it's whether it's restaurants or breweries or bars or whatever. Yeah, we don't have to get political and go down that, but yeah.
right, right.
Um, that sound so. Were you still doing? Was that kind of a full-time thing for you, or were you also doing your other massage and yoga stuff back then?
So I was working for Gene Juarez at the time as a massage therapist.
Gene
And
Juarez?
Dean Juarez. And so I
Okay.
live out in Puyallup. I was working at the South Hill location, and that was my main source of income, my main job. And I was doing that 4 times a week. And then I had to cut back a day to be able to go to the brewery. So I was still there 3 days a week, going to the brewery twice a week. So in trying to run everything, and I was doing, like, I had to obtain all the licensing, the TTB, getting that
Which
approved.
that's a pain in the ass. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That took like 3 months, and
Yep.
it was horrible. And I had to do it by myself. And everything was a learning curve. I don't have a degree in business. I never, went to school for business. And so all of this was just through trial and error and learning. I do have to say, Department of Revenue is great for new business owners, because you call them and you're like, I don't know what to do. And they literally will, at least everybody that I dealt with would walk me through
They were
things.
supportive and they were happy to
Very,
help.
very supportive and very happy to help. So
That
yeah,
is
I
cool.
filed all the, B&O taxes. I did payroll, new hire onboarding, and again, booking private music and events.
So essentially, you were doing that was the massage thing you were doing, you said,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
were
I'm still
also
the license.
working 75 hours a week at this business.
I was there 2 days a week because I also have two daughters. And
I
so
meant all the behind the scenes
yeah,
work you were doing,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Judas Priest,
yeah, all the
Angela,
behind the scenes. Yeah, yeah.
when did you sleep?
I didn't sleep much.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I could not have been there, like, present more than what I was, just with the commute. And like I said, I got kids, two daughters that I had to, take care of here too. And so yeah, I was really spreading myself thin.
Let's give a shout out to them, because the Origin, it's kind of evolved into something different now. I'm up to, I think you're going to be episode 124, but I'm up to now. I'm just loving talking to people I don't know because I learned so much. But the origin of the podcast was to capture people's stories, um, literally so that their family, whether they have kids or nieces, nephews, generations to come, can hear people tell their story after they're gone. That was literally the point of the podcast.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
let's just say
Yeah.
you have two amazing daughters. They're adults now, I'm assuming, even though you're only 35, they're adults,
Yeah,
right?
right. We'll just say I'm timeless. That's my age.
But
So my my oldest is 24 and the youngest is 17. So yeah.
Oh, so she's a senior or gonna be a senior.
She is a senior. She's going to cosmetology school and getting her high school credits. So she actually won't be graduating this year because she has to take another year of the cosmetology course. So,
Okay, that's awesome.
but yeah, I'm really, really proud of her. So both
Kids,
girls.
kids are the best. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yes. I only have one daughter. I'm older than you. She's 34 years old. And I had her when I was really young. But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
she's like the best thing that ever happened to me. And believe me, guys, I always say this, guys need to have a daughter. It fixes so many male issues.
yeah.
God.
I can see that for sure. And
I
in girls, women, young women need their fathers growing up. I feel like when they're
yes.
little, they need their moms, but then when those girls hit that, adolescent stage, they really dads need to step up.
Yes, it is incredibly important. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't go into the weeds on this, but yeah, me and my daughter are great. We're very close, but yeah, we are kind of we're kind of working through stuff that because me and her mom got divorced when she was only 2 years old, and we were always close, and I'm still really good friends with everybody. It's all good, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like I wasn't around as much as I should have been when she was in her formative years.
Right.
So yeah, but we're doing great, and thank God for therapy. I've been in it for 10 friggin' years.
Yeah.
Seriously, I always say this. I love my job at Costco because I have amazing insurance. I've been in therapy for like 10 friggin' years and it's super cheap. And my insurance has never like sent me a message said, "Hey, are you fixed yet? Can we stop paying for therapy?" I'm like, they don't. I just keep going to therapy.
Everybody needs a therapist. Even a therapist needs a therapist. Like
Absolutely.
we all do. Yeah. Yes.
There are just some stuff that you can't talk about with your family and friends, or maybe
Agree.
you shouldn't talk about with your family and friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So yes, you had the brewery. That sounds very stressful. Had to let it go. I hope there was a lot of good times there too. I mean, again, that just is it's a fun environment, as
Yeah.
long as you don't let it as long as you don't get into the party too much,
Exactly.
you have to remember it's a business, but I love craft beer. The story about how I got into Trusty Brewing is I was a craft beer snob. I still am. I love IPAs. When he first opened in January 2016, I stumbled across his brewery in downtown Vancouver, walked in, had a flight, and he had his corner window IPA, and I literally thought it was the best IPA I ever had. So I made up a resume. I wasn't at Costco at the time, and I took it into him like the next week, and I said, "Dude, just give me a job. I will do anything. Teach me how you made that IPA. That's the best I."
Yeah.
And he hired me, and we are still friends today. I was with him for 4 years. I did everything for him between beer
Yeah.
tending. I brewed with him. I would distribute for him. I would help him with summer brew fest. He was a great guy. But anyway, back to you.
Yeah.
Um, I know you grew up in the Seattle area.
Yes.
You're in Puyallup now, but you grew up in the
Yes.
Seattle area.
I grew up in right by SeaTac Airport.
Oh,
My
okay.
parents still live around that area to this day. So, I mean, Seattle is where I grew up essentially.
And you also went to college in Fife.
I went to Everest College in Fife to get my massage credentials. Yeah.
Got it. So you've been in the Northwest, that area, but
Yeah.
you've never lived anywhere else.
I've never lived anywhere else.
Yes.
I've only lived in Washington State on this side of the mountains. Yeah.
It is. It is. I'm sure you've traveled, but yes, and I'm sorry, but it's. I was born and raised in a little town called Canby, which is southeast of Portland a little bit. It's bigger now, but I've basically been in the Portland, Vancouver area my entire life. I did
Yeah.
live in Bend, Oregon for a few years, but other than that, I've been in the Northwest. I think we live in the best area ever. You have
Yeah.
everything you want, and
Yeah. That
you can
is,
travel to the tropics if you want,
yeah.
but yeah, it's awesome. So I did want to ask you about. Again, you're younger than me, so you were in Seattle in the 90s. What was that
Yes.
like?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I loved Bumper Shoot. Bumper Shoot was amazing in the 90s with all the grunge bands coming out at the time. And
Well, yeah, I mean, Foo
yeah,
Fighters, of course,
Foo
yes.
Fighters. Yeah, I see that. So it was just it was different. It was just different times. And um things just seemed a lot more laid back, and so I don't know. I miss it. I really miss that decade, that era, and just kind of the vibe of people. We were just in that transition from, like I said, it was just like this dirty grunge into, you know, I don't think anybody knew what was coming after that, honestly.
Well, yeah, and again, I know you're younger than me, but you're not 35, but you are younger. So you've seen the city change, obviously, growing up there.
Yes.
But you were literally, and I think about this because I had Jonathan Evison on my podcast, and we did a deep dive. He's older, he's about my age or a couple years older, but he was literally in that grunge punk scene in the 80s with a lot of these people that became famous later, and he was in that scene before the Seattle sound actually happened. And
Okay.
then in the 90s, it all of a sudden blew up and took over everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, were you roaming around downtown and kind of seeing this happening in real time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was down there. I was in Seattle. I mean, my girlfriends and we used to go, I don't know if you remember DV8 behind the Space Needle. I mean, it was like a club for under 21. And so we were around that area.
And that would be live music and or DJs or
DJ, usually DJ.
yep, yep.
So I didn't see a lot of live bands then because I just kind of hung out where my girlfriends were at that time. And there wasn't honestly a lot that I was aware of anyway, where we could go and see live music being under 21.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah.
And
So
then so yeah, let's what city, I'm sorry, you probably said it. What city were you actually born in and kind of raised in?
I was SeaTac. So right by the airport. I was born in Renton, which is
Yep.
Renton,
I know
SeaTac,
where that's
and
at.
they
Yep.
all just kind of run into each other. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. So born and raised there, you have siblings.
I have siblings. Yeah. Yeah. I'm one
Okay.
of five.
Okay. And are you the youngest?
I come second. So
Okay. And are your siblings still in the area or have some of them moved?
some of them have moved. I have my older sister, her and I are only 15 months apart. And so she
Okay.
lives in Des Moines with her husband and their kids. And then I have two younger sisters. One lives in Southern California in Redlands, and
Hmm.
the other one just moved to Dallas about a year ago.
Okay.
And then my brother, he's the baby and the favorite. So he's still, he's which I was never mad about it. If it would have been one of my sisters, I mean that would have caused a whole feud, but because he was a boy, I think none of us really cared.
You did not, there was no vitriol in your voice when you said that, so I
No.
believe you.
So yeah, he's still around. So he actually took over my parents' house. He, is kind of not their caretakers because they're not old enough that they need that, but he's taken over the mortgage and everything. And so my parents, just live there. My brother has his wife there and their kids. And so he's handling, basically their financial obligations.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. Oh, that's really
yeah.
good. And that
Yeah.
answers the question. I was going to ask, your parents are still with us?
Yes, they
Yes.
they both are and still married. I want to say going on 50 years, I think.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so growing up, great upbringing. You got along with your siblings, of course,
Well,
occasionally.
we would love each other one minute and hate each other the next. Like,
That's
yeah.
about normal. That's
I think
normal.
you're a child's first bully, if they have siblings, is their siblings. Like,
Right.
that is your first bully.
Well, and it's kind of
And
the same
so
thing that you'll mess with and pick on your siblings, but if anybody else does it, you're going to kill them.
exactly, exactly. You could
Yes.
you could be terrible to each other, like the worst, but nobody else better do that to you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we
So,
definitely had a love-hate relationship growing up.
and now as an adult, it's love, love.
No.
Okay.
We have some strained relationships with each other in the family, and it's just, it is what it is. But I'm
Yeah.
like, my priority is my girls, and and my focus is on my career, and that keeps me going. And as long as I have my daughters in my life, and I have a stepson too. He's 18,
Okay.
and he's closer to me and than he is with his father.
Okay.
He never lived with us. He lives with his mom.
Okay.
And so, my focus has always been on my kids. And as long as I'm close and I have healthy relationships with them, that's really what is a priority for me. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think you have your priorities straight. So, okay, growing up, middle school, high school, all that. How do, so again, it's supposed to be an origin story, how you ended up where you are. You obviously are a massage therapist, but you also have yoga due to yoga classes.
yeah.
What's the evolution? Like what was Angela like at 18, at 25, at 35, and well, now you're 39. So anyway,
Yeah. Again.
so what was the progression? Is this uh, did you see yourself landing where you're at now as professionally when you were 18?
No, when I was 18, I wanted to be a flight attendant. I thought I was going to be a flight. There's no way, especially after COVID, that I would want to do that now.
Right.
No way.
Yes. Yes.
I think the you know people who do that, they are fabulous. I don't know how, after seeing everything that unfolded during COVID, how they would want to do that, but I am thankful,
Yeah.
obviously, that they're there and they have those jobs because we need them.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that was kind of, my direction, and where I thought I was going to go was doing that. And I was
Were
working.
your parents in the airline industry? How'd that
My
happen?
my godmother was my godmother.
Okay.
She worked for Northwest Airlines,
Yeah.
in
Yeah. DB
Minneapolis.
Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, do this. And that was my mindset. And then, I started working in food and beverage. And after being in retail down at Westfield Mall, in Tukwila there. And
Actually, yes, I've driven past that. Yeah, I know what you're
okay,
talking. It's
yeah,
right off I-5.
yeah, it's right off
Yes.
I-5. So that was where I worked in high school. And then so I went into food and beverage, and then I went into hospitality. So I started working in hotels.
Hmm.
I did that for 15 years, where I was
Oh,
working in,
wow.
so I was front desk supervisor, night audit supervisor. But I just felt like, because those positions are so hard to fill, and it's really, really, really hard to get reliable people, because if you don't have somebody to cover your shift and your shift is over, I mean, you get stuck having to
Yeah.
stay
Yes.
out of guilt. Like, you're not forced to, but a lot of people get guilt tripped into staying, and then they end up hating their jobs. So it's really hard to find reliable people. And so I was never able to quite move up from beyond that, because they wanted to keep me where I was,
Because they could rely on you.
because I was reliable.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
You were too reliable. We're not going to take her out of that position because the next person is not going to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially
Oh,
doing graveyard shifts, which, people who do graveyard are normally not normal people.
no,
So
no, no. You're
they're,
right.
they're usually a little out of pocket.
Yes.
And so being able to find somebody who's, I'd say I'm somewhat, mostly normal in that position, it was, yeah, they didn't want to move me. So, um, after I got pregnant with my second daughter, I started thinking more about essential oils. And because I had a lot of problems with the pregnancy, and I had a lot of swelling.
With
I
there was issues with your second daughter.
My second daughter,
Okay. Okay.
I ended up having a C-section with her.
Okay.
Um, and my blood pressure was sky high. And so I started reading about massage, reading about, the benefits of it, kind of got my interest. And I was like, well, I'm going to check into this school. So I checked into Everest. By this point, I'm in my later 20s. And so I signed up. I was all in. It sounded like a great program. I was 5 weeks postpartum when I was supposed to start the program.
So
And
very mentally stable. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
right. Totally, totally. I think it was about a couple weeks before I was due to go in to start classes. I called admins and I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I need to put this off. I just had a baby. And then I've got, a 5.5-year-old, 6-year-old at home. Also, this is just, and I'm working on the weekends still. Like, I still planned on keeping my hotel job on the weekends. And I
Yeah.
was like, this might be too much. And she was like, I know that if you don't do this now, you're not going to do it. I know you're
Okay.
not going to come back. So she was very pushy. Again, it was my decision. Ultimately, it was my decision, but she was very pushy and I hated her for like the first couple of months. But I am so eternally grateful for her now. So, um, I finished school and I started, for the first 5 years, I started doing mobile massage. And so I still had my job
Oh,
at the
so would
hotel,
you would be able to bring like a table and
my
go to the
table.
to the patient or the client's house
Yes, yes.
or
And
office or
so,
whatever. Okay.
yeah. And the hotel that I worked at would let me rent a room on my days off. And so we had airline crews come in there. Alaska airline crews would come in and stay. And so
Oh.
I put something down at the front desk and they need massages.
Oh
Those people
God,
would,
yes.
yes.
If you're the pilots, you're sitting in a chair for too many hours, and otherwise, if
Yes.
you're the flight attendants, you're walking around in cramped spaces and just bound up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And so I did that and, friends, family, acquaintances, because I didn't feel safe going to a stranger's house. So this was all referrals of people I knew.
yeah.
I did some insurance claims for auto accidents, but it wasn't consistent. I wasn't doing it every single day. And the opportunity came up for me to apply at Gene Juarez. This was 2014. I applied not thinking I had enough experience to work there because it was, a high-end salon and they had very strict, guidelines for everything. And I was like, I don't know if they're going to hire me. I was able to go in, audition, and I got hired.
Okay.
And
Can we get in the weeds on that?
yeah,
When you say you're applying for a job as a massage therapist
yeah,
at this Juarez, what was the first name again?
Gene
Gene
Juarez.
Juarez,
Mhm.
which you have to audition. What is it like to audition for a massage therapist position?
So you have to go in as a massage therapist and give a massage to the manager, the whoever's doing the hiring or the recruiter,
Yeah.
actually give them the massage. And so they kind of critique you. They're not saying anything to you, but mentally they're critiquing everything. And then they'll tell you yes or no at the end.
You have to basically massage somebody that knows what a
What?
professional massage therapist, how you should
Yes.
act and how did you
Yes.
do it right, basically?
I did.
No, no,
This
I'm
is,
sorry.
oh,
That's what they're thinking. They're like,
oh yeah.
we're not
Yes.
going to talk, but you
Yes.
have to do the massage, and we
Yes.
the person that you're doing it to knows what the experience should be like.
Should feel like what to look for if the person is coachable, if they're trainable,
Yeah.
how adaptable are they with certain things, are they experienced in their modalities. So now I teach, so I know all these
Yes.
things to look for.
That
But
had to
yeah,
be nerve-wracking for you.
oh, it was very nerve-wracking, very, very nerve-wracking.
Oh
And
man.
so now it's kind of interesting being on the other side of the coin and I'm the one causing the anxiety.
Yes. And
Yeah.
between massage therapy and yoga, you're supposed to reduce stress.
Right.
So, you auditioned for that, and I'm assuming you got the position.
I got the position. They went through this 2 week training before you could actually work out of your location. And so, and that is a necessary thing because in these positions, any kind of service provider, you're not going to have a manager behind you telling you what you need to do. So
Yeah.
you very much have to be self motivated and a self starter.
Yeah.
And so that training was definitely key to get me where I was because once you got into the spa, they kind of show you around a little bit and then it's, you're on your own.
Yeah.
If you have questions, of course, there's somebody there to answer them, but you are your own boss,
And
essentially.
are you in charge of building up your client base, or do they have a marketing team or some promotions where they're trying to feed you
Yes.
clients?
Yeah, exactly. And so
Okay.
there, it took, I'd say a year, maybe a year and a half before I was starting to get regulars, but they did all the scheduling, they did all the marketing promotions, they had memberships, and so they would get people in there.
And
So that was great.
were you able to kind of set a schedule that works for you, especially when you have kids? Or
Initially, what I signed on for was just I wanted the job, and I was like, I wasn't specific about
yeah.
hours or times. And so I was working 4 10-hour shifts, which was a lot. It was too much. When you're in a physically demanding job like that and you're a body worker, doing, I would say even six or more in a day is quite taxing on the body.
What year was
So
this again? I'm sorry, what year?
2014.
All right, so you're 12 years into this now. Um, and I keep questions I want to ask, but this is a topic. What effect does doing that have on your body? Like especially your hands? I mean, what kind of self-care do you have to do? Because if you're spending that many hours a day
Hmm.
using your hands, I'm like, holy crap, you are going to have arthritis, whatever. But is there self-care you can do, or you have to just go to your own massage therapist?
There's definitely self-care you can do, but one thing that now I'm an instructor out of school, so I teach
Yes, and we're going
one.
to get to that. It's on
We'll
my
get to
list.
that. But one of the things I teach is that your hands, your wrists, your arms, your shoulders should not be in pain. So if they are, you need to rethink your body mechanics, and your all that strength, all that stamina should be coming from your core and down. So your
Okay.
hands should not be hurting after doing massages. If they are, you're doing something wrong. So,
That actually makes so much sense. And you could
mhm,
apply that to any athletic endeavor. And I'm going to
absolutely.
say that yes, being a masseuse is an athletic endeavor. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So you've
Yeah,
been doing it ever since then, obviously, but then let's get to the point where you ended up, so yeah, I think I have this right. You're an instructor at the Northwest Academy for the Healing Hearts, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
in
yeah.
Tacoma.
That's in Tacoma.
And you also is Penelope and the Beauty Bar. Is that your current massage location?
I work for Penelope in the Beauty Bar in the Fairmount Olympic in downtown Seattle,
And then the Three Trees Yoga is where you do
where
yoga classes.
that is where I got my schooling certification to teach yoga is through Three Trees, and they are a yoga studio that offers classes, but they also have a student program. So it's a 9-month program. And I went through that a few years ago and graduated so that I was able to teach yoga. I've been doing yoga, practicing yoga since about, I want to say it was about 2010, 2011 when I started practicing yoga. It was my very first yoga class,
Oh, even before massage.
even before.
Well, then,
Uh,
okay.
well, it was after massage because I went to massage school in 2008.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then I was like interested in yoga. I've always had a curiosity about it, but never took any classes. And I don't know why, there was no reason not to. And so I finally tried it. We go to the Y here in Puyallup,
Hmm.
Melcorum Y. Love it. It's a really, really nice facility that they offer classes with your membership. At the time that I started taking classes, they had three phenomenal instructors there. And so that's how I learned yoga. One of them took the time to work with me one on one and my daughter. Ashley was at that time we started taking classes together. Ashley was four
Oh,
years old.
wow.
And
Okay.
so she would get up with the instructor and the instructor led her, and she would pull her mat up right next to her and teach the class. So,
So was this what dropped the bug in your ear about the yoga thing? Was this were you having body aches and pain?
I was getting some body aches and pains. I had always been athletic, I started cheerleading from the time I was 7 years old until I
Okay.
was done with high school. So I've
Okay.
always been active physically. But I had just had this curiosity about flexibility in yoga and how all that worked. And
Yeah,
I come to find out yoga is not just about flexibility, it's about strength also. It's
absolutely.
strength
Yes.
training. And so the more classes I took, the more I liked it. And I just kept going back. And at some weeks I was going 3 times a week to these yoga classes. I'd take my own, adult classes, and then I'd go to the family yoga with my youngest daughter, and
Yeah.
we would do yoga together. So it was awesome.
And were you always naturally flexible?
I think from the cheerleading,
Hmm.
I I have a lot of flexibility. so that just kind of, taking the yoga just kind of helped me figure out what muscles, to isolate what muscles needed a little bit more, work. And it's also, like I said, it's also about building strength as well. So,
Yeah.
which I was not prepared for that. I was like, oh, this is actually harder than it looks. You see all these beautiful poses and, in the magazines or online or whatever, and it just looks so graceful and beautiful. And it's a lot of hard work to get into those.
Yeah, holding that pose takes a lot of strength. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure that, and I'm sure you know this, but especially as we age, strength training is one of the most important things to
Yeah.
remain functional.
Yeah.
Um, you have to be able, once, and especially like me, I'm over 50. Um, it's not about just walking and running. You have to have strength training.
Yeah.
It staves off osteoporosis,
Yep.
but it also keeps you functional. You know, if you're in your 70s and you want to be able to pick up your grandkid, you have to have strength. If
Yeah.
you go down a flight of stairs and you miss a step, you have to have the strength to reach out your hand, grab the rail, and catch yourself before you fall. And if you don't have that strength, you fall and you break a hip, and then you're done. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
strength
Absolutely.
strength training is so important as we age,
Yeah.
especially.
As you get older, I mean, when we're younger, they're all cardio, 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 and that's
Yeah.
great. But then as you get into your 40s and beyond, cardio is not what your body needs. It needs strength training. It needs you need to be lifting weights. Yoga is a great again tool for building
Yes.
strength as well. So yeah, and loading up on that protein, which you don't need so much when you're younger, but you definitely need as you get older. So
Yes. And also, I guess we should emphasize when we say strength training, we're not talking about, oh, you have to get on the bench and load it up or the squat rack.
right.
You can do so much with body weight exercises or
Mhm.
kettlebells or whatever. And just getting into some of those yoga poses and holding them or even getting into them is putting anything that puts weight on your bones.
Yeah.
That's what matters. And
Yeah.
this, osteoporosis is obviously a much bigger issue with women, especially as they age.
Right.
But your bones, they will stay denser if they're stressed. You have to stress your body
Yeah.
so it doesn't get weak, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is something I have told my clients for many years that, the worst thing you could do for your body, especially when you're, after an injury or after a surgery, is sit on your ass. Like you cannot do that. It is the worst thing for
Oh
your
God,
body.
would you please say it again? I literally say that sentence again.
After an injury or a surgery, the worst thing you could do is sit on your ass. Like get up and move.
Hallelujah. I'm not going to go into details, but I just in February had surgery. It was actually the first time that I'd ever been put under. Like I've never had a surgery that I had to go under general anesthetic.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm fine. But after that, the doctor was like, "Well, yeah, I mean, there's stitches and all that." And he goes, "Well, you should probably at least take a week off of work." And he's warning me about like, because I work out, I have my whole life, and I'm thinking, no, I being sedentary is not going to help this heal. I
Mhm.
need to move. And I went back to work as soon as I could. And I'm being smart about it. Like I'm not going to do something that's going to tear the stitches open. But I'm
Right.
like, yes, I'm going to test my body. Can I do this movement? Can I do a squat? Can I do a stiff-legged deadlift with a kettlebell?
Yeah.
Can I do a push-up?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, that is so important. Your body, if you don't put some stress on your body, it's not going to heal as fast. And is
Right.
that kind of a foundation of yoga?
It's a foundation of yoga. I mean, it's a found, it's even with my massage clients, and I have definitely, bridged. They those bridges cross.
They're complementary.
They're complementary. What I have learned in yoga before I even got my teaching certificate, I was doing on the table for my clients when I was giving them a massage. It was like, oh, I know how to stretch this muscle out because this is what we do in yoga.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my clients when they after a massage, like, oh, this is a great stretch that I learned in yoga. You should try this for this area. And so then, that's kind of how teaching came to me for yoga. I was like, I want to teach yoga. Like, I'm already teaching my clients things that I've learned. I want to actually get, certified to be able to do this.
Yes.
So,
God,
so
this
yeah,
sounds
it was,
amazing.
yeah.
We are almost an hour in. I would love to go a little bit longer, but I do have to go potty. Can we take a
Okay.
pause?
Sure.
Okay, let me just hit pause.
Okay.
God, thank God for I'm gonna give Zoom a shout out. It makes doing podcasts virtually so easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, here, let me just pause it. Feel free to
Okay.
go potty if you have to, and
Okay.
I will. And we are back. I went potty, and your amazing dog Tito went potty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Then I guess yeah, we have covered so much. This is awesome, but I do want to kind of like let's do a check-in where you're at now. I mean, it sounds like you have your career as a massage therapist, you're teaching in Tacoma. Like yeah, how are things like what is the plan for the next, gosh, since you're only 35, what's the plan for the next 25 years before you retire?
Well, I'm not sure. So I've just been recently separated the last year. So, and I've
Yeah.
filed for
Yeah.
divorce a year ago.
Yeah.
It's getting dragged out, not on my
It's
part.
yeah, so I'm sorry. So
I'm
you're going through a big
it,
life change.
going through a big life change.
Yes.
So I'm kind of just kind of going with the flow, taking it one day at a time. I honestly don't know. I'm kind of open to anything, even, moving out of state, even though I've lived here my entire life.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter lives in San Antonio now, and I'm going to visit her for Mother's Day weekend. She moved in September, and I still have not seen where my daughter lives. So,
That's actually really cool. And you might have mentioned this. Did she go down there for work?
no, her and her husband just absolutely fell in love with San Antonio. They have another couple who is friends with them, and they live down there. They invited them out there last year to come stay with them for a few weeks, and they did. And
Okay.
they were like, "We want to move here," and
Wow, okay.
they
And
did.
they were able to like either job transfer or find jobs down
Yeah.
there?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Pretty,
awesome.
pretty easily. Yeah. It did not take them long to find jobs. They did not transfer and they just went down there and I'm like, you're crazy. And I
Well,
told my daughter, I was like, you have to start applying. You have to get a job secured. You can't move down there without a job. They both did it anyway. And they're both fine.
they
So
don't obviously they don't have kids.
no, they don't have kids.
Yes.
They're not allowed yet. I told them I'm not ready.
I love that you say that to them.
Yeah, I'm not ready. You guys can't have kids yet.
It is a generational thing, and
Yeah.
my daughter is a bit older than her, but still, I have noticed a different generational thing. And her husband also do not have kids.
Yeah.
They can take those kind of just spur of the moment choices and risk, and God bless them. And I have again, we're kind of close to the same generation, but
Yeah.
I have observed. I think are we Gen X? Is that what they call
We're
us?
Gen X. Yes.
And
Yes.
then our kids are millennials. Well, mine is. Yours aren't. Mine
Mine
is a
is
millennial.
a Gen Z, I
Z.
think. I think
I
my
think
oldest
Gen
is a
Z.
Gen Z. Yeah.
Yes. And especially with the advent of social media,
Yeah.
um, it's God, they have a completely different mindset.
Yeah. They sure do.
And me and
And
my daughter are incredibly close. But yeah, it's a wow. And I don't even, they might be right about some stuff. I also feel like they could learn some stuff from us, but
yeah.
they're not ready to yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Fortunately, both of my girls did get the work ethic that I feel like was instilled, more commonly in youth than it is now. So I mean, we did not have money growing up. So if I wanted
Okay.
something beyond, food, water, shelter, I had to go get it myself.
Okay, then
And
yes, you obviously without me saying it knew where I was going with that. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
So they do have the work ethic. Maybe not not quite the sense of entitlement that some do.
Yeah, yeah. My oldest started working when she was 16. We got into a huge fight about the cell phone. I took it away and she threw like a toddler tantrum at 16 years old over the phone. And so I never gave it back to her. And I said, if you want a phone, you're going to have to get a job and go buy one yourself. She did.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
did.
Well, then
Um,
she learns the value of it. Like you have to
yes.
work for it, you learn the value.
Yes. And our youngest, she started working when she was 14. She started working at the Puyallup Fair. So she would
Hmm.
do the spring fair, the fall fair. She worked at the Krusty Pup stand there, and she did that for 3 years.
Oh,
So every
wow.
time, yeah. And so now she works with me at Penelope in the beauty bar. So she does, she's a spa attendant. So basically housekeeping work. And then sometimes she'll work at the front desk. So
Oh,
my
and so
girls know the value of hard work.
the Penelope and the Beauty Bar, is that right there in Puyallup?
No, downtown Seattle. That's in the Fairmount
Oh, so
Olympic
so
Hotel.
you have to commute for everything you do.
Yeah, I'm commuting. Both my jobs are at opposite ends.
Opposite ends. Yeah, you're going down
Yeah,
to Tacoma and up. Wow.
yeah.
Holy crap. Do you have an electric car or a Prius? For God's sakes, you're spending a lot of
Oh,
gas.
nope, I don't. I have some feelings about electric cars, so it's just for me, it's weird. I can't quite get on board with that. I'm just like, how inconvenient is it to have to stop and sit for, I don't know how long it takes to charge a car, what, 40 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think if you get a fast charger, but yeah, basically, I have friends that have Teslas and stuff. If you own one, you better have the adapter and you better be able to charge it every night at your house so that it's
Yeah,
full. You have
yeah.
to do that. Even the fast charging stations are going to take 20 or 30 minutes.
I don't got time for that shit. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I can't. I'm just like, no, it takes, what, less than 10 minutes to put gas in your car. And I know right now the prices are insane,
Oh
but
my God, it takes like 2 or 3 minutes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
full disclosure, I have two vehicles. I do have a Prius, a 2016 Prius, which is great. It's a hybrid, so I put gas in it. I love the fact that I get 48 miles a gallon. It's amazing.
yeah.
But I also have a 1993. You'll remember these. The little Nissan hardbody trucks in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a red one. It's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
so easy to drive. It gets good gas mileage.
Yeah.
They were very reliable, and so if I ever have to make a dump run or you know you're doing yard work in the spring, or you have to haul bark dust or go to the dump, it's awesome. So,
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
but I did realize after driving that, because I was separated and divorced a couple years ago, and all I had was a Nissan hardbody from 1993, and it had 370,000 miles on it. I was like, oh, I need something more reliable, so I bought the Prius,
Yeah.
and it's friggin' amazing, great gas mileage, and it has Bluetooth. I can listen to my music from
Yeah.
my phone. My Nissan has a CD player. It still has a CD
Oh, okay. At
player.
least you got a CD player. Hey, it's not a cassette player.
No, it's not an 8 track. That's actually probably too that's too far back for you.
No, I do remember those. I didn't have a car who had one, but that had one of those, but I remember those.
Oh,
My
that is
parents
too
did.
funny.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. And I think you said, speaking of your parents, they're in the area and your brother and his family are, I can't remember if you said they're in the same house with him
Yeah,
or
yes, yep, they live in the
got
same.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Just kind of taking care of things, but they're still very functional.
They're still very functional. One, my dad had, I think it was a year ago, he had gotten a couple of his lumbar vertebrae um, fused together.
Okay.
And worst thing ever. And instead, and this is why I like advocate like health and wellness. And I mean, everybody is all different shapes and sizes, right? And there's definitely a healthy weight for every body type. And I am just really big on like and his doctor even told him, lose the weight that might help with your back. Let's try that first. He didn't. He just, went in, had the surgery done. Doctor did it anyway. I wouldn't have done it if I was his doctor. I would have said, you're not getting surgery until you lose weight, period. And my dad's been miserable ever since.
Oh shit,
And
I'm sorry.
yeah, and he hasn't been very mobile at all. And I'm like, it drives me crazy because that's not how my brain works. But that's the worst thing you could do. If you're in pain, the worst thing you could do is just sit there because
Is
you're
there
making every other joint stiff and muscle stiff and sore and
so
immobile.
so it goes back to after any injury, the best
Yeah.
way to heal is to be active. You have to
Yeah.
be active. You have to stress the body.
Yeah, a lot of doctors now are telling, when I had my C-section, they were like, as soon as your epidural wears off and you feel your legs, you need to get up and walk. And I was like, what? And they were like, you need to get up, put your baby in that little, carrier, it's got the
Oh,
wheels, and you push her down the hall. And I was like,
and
oh,
that was several years ago, but even back
that
then they gave you that
that
advice?
was in 2008. Yeah,
That's
they told me
impressive.
get up and walk. And yeah, I mean, it helps with blood clots. If you've had a surgery, it's going to help with so that you don't get blood clots if you get up and walk. But that is what they do now for surgery. I've had a couple surgeries since then, different things, and they're like, walk, get up and walk. And
Yes.
you know, um, 2 years ago, I had pre-cancerous cells removed on my back, and I was like freaking out, after she stitched me
You
up,
mean
and
like melanoma?
it was pre-cancer to that. Yeah. So if they
Okay.
didn't remove it, it could have turned into
Yeah, that okay, so that's
cancer. Yeah.
funny. Again, it's not about me, but that's the surgery I was talking about. I had to have melanoma removed from my back.
Okay. Lower.
Um,
Yeah. It was my lower back on the right side.
right side. Yes.
Right
What's
side.
wrong with us?
So now I've got this, like, I don't know, 2-inch scar there
Oh
on my
no,
back.
no. My spot, the actual brown spot that became melanoma was maybe half an inch big. But when he went in and cut it out, I had now have like a 6 inch scar on my back. He cut a lot out. He also
Yeah.
had to go in and he took out some lymph nodes in my groin and some lymph nodes in my
Wow.
armpit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm fine. It wasn't. I didn't have to do radiation or
Yeah.
chemo. They caught it early enough, but it
Yeah.
was a major surgery. But so you had the same thing, although
Yeah.
maybe.
Only they didn't have to go quite as extensive with it because it hadn't even gotten to that point
Oh,
yet.
thank God.
But yeah, I mean, I freaked out because I was like, well, can I exercise? Because she's, stitching me up, and she's like, I don't want you to be exercising, whatever, because I want this to heal, this scar to heal as nice as possible for you. And I was like, well, what can I do? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I have to do something. And I was like, can I? And I'm asking her, I'm like, can I at least walk? And she's like, yeah, you can walk, no running. And I'm like, okay, I'll walk, I'll walk. And I walked every day until I could do more.
That's amazing. And I
So
had the same thing. So this is a shout out to yeah, our medical professionals because they did tell me walk as soon as you can.
yeah,
Don't do like don't. I think the orders were for 7 days. Don't lift anything heavier than 20 pounds, but you should
yeah.
walk as soon as you could. The
Hmm.
surgery was on a Thursday, and then I recovered. Didn't do much Friday, but on Saturday. We went, I don't know how well you know the Columbia Gorge area. Like, have you ever been to Hood River?
Um, I've hiked Beacon Rock,
Oh,
and I
that's
believe
on the Washington side. So
what?
yes, yes, I know where you're talking about. That's an
Yeah.
amazing place, but it's kind of on the other side of the gorge.
Okay. Okay.
But we went to Hood River because there is Hood River is like literally right on the river, but there's hills. We hiked all the way. It's like a very steep, famous stairway that goes up several hundred feet.
Oh wow.
So I did that 2 days after surgery, and it was so funny. Like I had people telling me, like, dude, maybe you should chill the fuck out and not do this. But I was like, no, I need to move, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And as long as you felt good and you were doing it at your pace, and yeah, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing for your body to heal.
Well,
And getting blood flow and circulation to an area that's injured is what heals it faster. This is what so many people do not understand about injuries and surgeries. Ice is one of those things too that's like now debatable. And after an injury, ice is only effective the first 24 hours. It really doesn't have any effect after 24 hours. Why you keep icing? You need to
right.
start at that point, start applying heat. Heat brings circulation to the area. It brings the white blood cells. The white blood cells are what heals the area.
Yes. Oh my God,
So
that makes so much sense. So yeah, you actually want your body to be trying to heal it, and if you stay sedentary, um, your
Yeah.
natural healing powers are not going to happen.
Yes, this is why, like, I swear by it. And I know everybody has their own, issues, and every body essentially is a little different, but I am a firm believer that exercise heals, or not, it can heal, but also prevents a lot of things. I had went through a period where I hadn't been sick for 5 years, not even a common cold. I was exercising regularly, and there's a lot of other factors, attributed to that: hand washing, not touching your face when you're out,
Right.
things like that. But I exercise 6 days a week. When I hurt, I get up and I move, even if I can't move the way that I want to. I've thrown out my back before. What did I do? I went for a walk. I went slow, I walked slow, but I was able to work it out, and so I didn't have to be at the chiropractor every week for 6 months like I've had to in the past. Um,
Yes.
so I know how to prevent a lot of things, or from things getting out of hand, and by the time they get out of hand, you're in so much pain, or, you've lost range of motion, or, some muscle function, that it's going to take longer to recover.
Yes. Oh my God. It's kind of blowing my mind that we're on the same page on this. But yes, gosh damn. The sedentary lifestyle causes so many problems.
Hmm.
Um, and I can go back to I always feel better. I work in a tire shop, so it's a very active job. Every day I work out, get some form of exercise, it just makes the rest of the day better.
Yeah.
Like my body just feels better. If I can get, I have kettlebells in my room. I'm a member to a gym and all that stuff, but every single day that I have done some form of exercise resistance training, the rest of the day goes better. Even doing everything at the tire shop is easier and it feels better if I've warmed my body up, if I've activated it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and you also mentioned, younger cardio and stuff. If you introduce circuit training, make your resistance workout a circuit training workout, you still get the cardio effect, but you also get the strength training,
Right.
So
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
what I've done now as I've gotten older is I don't care about how much weight I'm using. I'll use weight, but it's like do this exercise, do abs in between, go back to a different body part, then do abs. And I just keep moving for 30 or 45 minutes.
Sure.
And I'm getting a lot of strength training done, but I'm not stopping. So I still get the cardio effect.
Right. Right.
And
Yep.
then also I'm all about the outdoors. I love hiking. So that's great exercise, especially when as we age, again, you'll get there one day because you're young, but as we age, it is really important to not just walk in a treadmill. You need to get out in nature and do a hike. You need to
Yeah.
walk on uneven ground so that your body knows how to handle, oh, I'm on a trail and it's sloped, or I stepped over a root, or this rock moved under my foot and my body had to adjust to it.
Right.
You need real world exercise, uphill, downhill,
Yeah.
especially.
To keep your coordination as you age. It's
Yes.
essential. It's essential.
Your
And
awareness of space.
yes, yes. And just getting, this, we're coming into the season where the sun will be coming out more, and just getting that sunshine. And I am definitely a warm weather hiker. I love hiking. But here in the Pacific Northwest, I have to do it when it's warmer. I don't like being cold and wet, and I find it miserable. I try to hike like that.
That is
So
that's not an original story. I mean, a lot of
yeah.
women, yeah, so are like, I'm cold.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, definitely, I'm getting so excited because I have done some hikes throughout the winter on nicer days, but it's just I just can't wait to feel the sun, and yeah,
Yes.
just be out there. So,
It is invigorating. It also helps, obviously, with vitamin D.
yes.
We kind of adapt to it. I love living up here, but I do appreciate a sunny day.
Hmm.
When the sun's out, you can't just like, I have to open every blind, every window, and then when it's a sunny day, I have to get outside. It just
Yeah.
energizes me.
Yes. Yeah. No matter where it or what you're doing, if it's even just sitting out on your deck in your backyard, just something. Yes. We have to take advantage of every moment we get here, I feel like, because the winters are a little drawn out here. They're a little gray.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, millions of years of, depending on what you believe, but millions of years of evolution, hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. The sun does has a lot of benefits for the human body.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Yeah.
vitamin D production or whatever, but being out in the sun is really good for you in so many
Yeah.
ways. Being
Yes.
outdoors when the sun is up, you know, I a sidebar. Before I got on at Costco, I was a DJ, like a club DJ for several years. Nothing good happens when the sun goes down.
Yeah. It's so
I learned that lesson hard. That is why I realized when I was in my 40s, I need to get a career that has a retirement and benefits, and I need to stop fucking DJing. This is stupid. And it's not healthy to be out in a bar until 2 a.m. So,
right. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. There's
God.
way more drama that you don't need to see, don't want to see that happens at those hours. You're right.
Yes,
But nothing good usually comes of it. Yeah.
I would rather be awake when the sun is up, get out, enjoy nature. It's
Yeah.
invigorating, it's energizing.
Absolutely. I feel like the day is wasted if I didn't get my ass out the door when the sun is shining like that. I'm just like I
Right.
wasted a day, especially if I don't have plans. If I'm not like, okay, I got to run here, 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 and then my whole day's taken up. If I'm like, I have time, then I'm gonna go do it. I'm
Yes.
gonna just make the time.
Holy crap. All
Yeah.
right. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm gonna let you go. Let me
Okay.
hit stop and then we'll say a goodbye
Okay.
offline. But this is I did tell you this before we started recording, so I want to document it. You are incredibly kind. You're incredibly gracious with your time. I really appreciate you taking the time and even saying yes to some guy you didn't know. But it was a really amazing conversation. And yes, and we're gonna stay in touch. Oh my gosh, I'll recommend some breweries to you, and
Awesome.
you can do the same for me.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, I will hit stop now.